fascinating that we can get into a social situation and put on this false front, and it's socially appropriate front, but nobody knows what goes on behind closed doors.
Right.
And there's a degree of healthiness to that. But you don't know who's going through the same struggles. You don't know who's getting a divorce. I mean, it was like somebody, as soon as the news came out, it was like all of a sudden somebody turned on the lights and everybody scattered. It was terrifying to have my social network disappear. And had I known that there was other guys that I knew for years that were pretending to be fine, that weren't, had I known that, then I think I might have fared differently. So Visible Man is about finding men that are willing to, frankly, have the balls to come forward and say, I go to therapy, or I'm thinking about divorce, or God forbid, I'm thinking about dying. And if you see somebody at the store and you know that that's their story, you feel a little bit of an affinity towards them. Like, oh God, like I'm here for you. Like, and men are helpers by nature. We don't want to ask for help. And so I think the other thing is I would like for Visible Man to be a group or network of men that are willing to help other men and just be an example, whatever that looks like, because we're more than happy to help.
Right. I think I can relate to how you said you felt alone, so much. I was starting the process just after my 30th birthday.
Okay.
And so a lot of my friends were still, they were like getting married.
Oh,
here I am
my
on the
gosh.
other side of it. Yeah.
And how long were you married at that point?
We were married 3 years.
Okay.
So obviously they didn't, besides from like their parents, but it's a lot different when it's your parents versus your peers. And that's kind of where F-divorce came from is, and my family doesn't have a lot of divorce in it either.
Same
old
here.
Catholic family. We just didn't
Same.
do it.
Same here. Same here.
And so I felt like I couldn't talk to anyone. And that's where I started. I didn't have that kind of plan that seems like you did. For me, it was just, I felt like I needed to get something out to anyone. I didn't expect anybody to respond. I didn't know, because my main kind of focus has always been Instagram. And, I didn't know before I started, obviously I didn't know you could even do anything like that. I thought it was businesses, influencers just taking like bikini shots, and then us regular people just uploading, our regular pictures. I didn't know that you could blend all of these different things.
Yeah.
But I think that's interesting that we both kind of did the same thing in a different way. I remember when I first started, there's nobody. There were no men. And if they were out there, they were, what are they called? Like red pillars.
Yeah.
So they were so anti-woman, and it was like, well, no, I don't want to be that. I don't hate women. I hate this woman. I don't hate the rest of them, and I'm not going to lie. I mean, it felt lonely,
Yeah,
you
mentioned that, yeah.
And Instagram especially is female centric. It's got more females are on Instagram than males. So you're already kind of
I didn't know that.
Betting against the odds.
Yeah.
But then, I'm searching for people, and then you popped up, and I looked and I was like, this. I'm like, he's a real dude.
That's really good to hear, Jack. That's very good to hear.
Yeah, it was I found out about your woodworking. I remember early on you had mentioned that I remember you'd post stories or posts about you going to like a bar and just being there, and I said, well, that's probably not very effective. Like, at this point, no one knows who you are. You're just this cat standing there. But it's similar to me to how priests would do that. There's a term for it. I can't think of the term. I've been trying to think of it all morning. But where priests would go and they would preach at like bars or be there for anyone. They would just kind of hang out, and it's kind of in the religious example, it's kind of a go to where the sinners are versus preaching to the choir.
Yes, yeah.
And yeah, you're much more likely to find people that are in similar situations at a bar than you are, at a library or something like that. But I remember I thought that was the coolest thing. I was like, there's this cat who did what I felt like I couldn't do when I started. I felt like I couldn't sit there and be, obviously my point of view is masculine. I am a man. And I'm not trying to say that you're speaking for men, but at first it was like I felt like I couldn't even touch on male stuff specifically. I had to keep everything super, generic. And then I felt like you came out and you kind of took that next step. And I appreciate that so much, because that's what we need. We need to sit there and say, look, there's nothing against women. We're not bashing any gender or anything like that. But, men are inherently, we've touched on this, whether it be societally, for societal reasons or just because of who we are, we're kind of terrible at this. And we do need to reach out,
Yeah.
And that blew my mind. I was so happy to see that you were starting to do that. So, at its core, as we mentioned earlier, Visible Man is about men talking. So this is kind of an experiment right now. We're kind of in the early stages, right? Yeah,
I think that's about right.
Do you have other men who have joined? How do people kind of approach you to either take part in this from somebody who needs help or from somebody who wants to help?
It's really fascinating because it's been a bunch of different ways. And I'm thinking about the term experiment because I love experiments. I'm an engineer, and I love. There's something about, and I'll answer your question, but there's something about depersonalizing how things work to figuring things out. And Visible Man is, in some ways, trying to figure out what's the best way to reach men. What's the best way? Because I don't know that I know the answer, but